Hey team, Mr. Munner here to talk about AO2 Solving two-step linear equations. So before we dive into that, let's break down what that AO means to begin with. When you're solving a linear equation, you're trying to find the value of the unknown. In this case x, in this case y, in this case here z. What you're going to end up with at the end of this process is you're going to end up with something like x equals 6 or y equals 1/2 or something along those lines. That's what we're looking for. And obviously with a two-step equation, it's going to require more than one step. With a linear equation, what you're going to end up with is if you graphed what this equation here would look like, you'd end up with a straight line as opposed to a parabola or an exponential graph. So that's basically what we're looking for here, is we are trying to find what the value of x, the value of y, and what the value of z is in these particular algebraic equations. And remember, in different equations, x, y, z might be different values. So let's go through and let's try this. The method I always like to use for this is what I call the Jackie Chan method. A lot of you know who Jackie Chan is. He's a famous kung fu artist, much like myself. And when Jackie gets into a fight, or when I get into a fight, there's a number of steps that we go through in order to make sure we get what we want to get from that kung fu battle. So here's the first thing that I do whenever I find myself involved in a kung fu battle. The first thing I do is I assess my situation. I make sure I write down my equation. The next thing I do is I always pick on the smallest guy first. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. I always pick on the smallest guy first. So in this case here, I'm going to pick on this guy here, this +3. So whenever I'm fighting a particular henchman, I always use what I know is his ultimate counterattack. In this case here, because this guy is a +3, I know his ultimate counterattack is going to be a -3. That's going to finish him off. So that's what I'm going to do here. And whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side of the equation as well. This is basic kung fu. It's that concept of balance, wax on, wax off. So because I have -3 from this side of the equation, I have to -3 to this side of the equation as well. So I have gone with I've picked on the smallest guy first, I've gone with this ultimate counterattack, and I've made sure I maintain that balance. Once I've taken out one of these values, once I've taken out someone, I then have to reassess my situation, see what's changed, see what's going on. So what I then do is I rewrite the equation. Let's rewrite this equation now. I've still got the 2x, still with the 2x. That +3 has been eliminated by that ultimate counterattack. And now over here, 13 minus 3, only 10 left. So I have identified the smallest person, I've used the ultimate counterattack, and I've maintained balance, and then I've reassessed my situation. That's that first step, that two-step linear equation done. Now let's have a look at the next step. What have I got to do now? I want to eliminate this guy here. He's the last guy left. Remember, what I'm trying to do is be left with just x at the end of this. X equals something. So I need to get rid of that guy. Now what is that guy? Remember, he is a 2 times x. It's a 2 times x. So in order to get rid of a times by 2, opposite of times by 2 is divide. So I need to divide that by 2. That's his ultimate counterattack. I've got to maintain that balance, that wax on, wax off. So the opposite has to happen over here as well. I'm going to divide that by 2. Right, now I'm going to reassess my situation. Let's write this out. I'm left with, just x over here. That's good. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. So there we go. My unknown value in this case here is 5. Now we can literally check that to make sure that we've done this correctly. If we're not sure, by actually putting that value there, back into the equation. So let's try that. 2, we said x is 5 plus 3 equals 13. Now, if we've done this correct, then that equation will make sense. Let's have a look. 2 times 5 is 10, and 10 plus 3 does equal 13. So yes, that is correct. Nice little easy way to make sure that we've done this correctly. Okay, let's have a look at our next one. We are trying to get this guy on his own, the y. So, who am I going to pick on first? I'm going to pick on this minus 3. I mean, he's the weakest, but also he's on the outside, right? So you're not going to run towards the middle to try to deal with this guy first. I'm going to take this guy here out, who's on the outside. So he's a minus 3. What's going to be his counter attack? That's going to be a plus 3. So I'm going to add 3 to him. So I've figured out who I'm going to pick on. I've used the ultimate counter attack. I've got to maintain balance. So wax on, wax off. I've added 3 there, so I have to add 3 here as well. Okay. Now I'm going to reassess my situation, see where I'm at. Still got 4y. That's been gone. That's eliminated that. Brilliant. And I've now got 37 plus 3. That's going to be 40. Fantastic. Okay, next thing. One more step. 4 times y equals 40. So I'm going to divide that by 4 because that's a times by 4. That's divided by. And because I've divided that by 4, I have to divide that by 4. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to reassess my situation. That's going to eliminate that, which means I'm left with just y. And 40 divided by 4 is 10. Fantastic. And I could check that equation really quickly, but it's going 4 times 10 is 40, minus 3 equals 37. Fantastic. Another correct solve. Okay, last one. Now, this one always throws students off because they often forget what that guy there means. Remember, in algebra, we tend to use this form of writing division as opposed to that form of writing division. They are the same thing. So this simply means z divided by 4. Okay, I'm not going to worry about him yet, as I still have to deal with this guy here first. So what's his ultimate counter attack? He's a plus 3, so I'm going to take him out with minus 3. Okay, so let's reassess my situation. Oh, wait, no, first I have to wax on, wax off, maintain balance. So minus 3, because if I didn't maintain balance, right, I'd just fall over. That would be a pretty embarrassing way to fight a kung fu battle. Okay, so let's reassess the situation. Let's rewrite this thing out. I've got z divided by 4. I've eliminated that, which means I'm left with just 7. Okay, cool, that's good. Now, next step. How do I get rid of this guy here? Now, he is divided by 4. So the way I'm going to get rid of him is I'm going to use his ultimate counterattack, which is times by 4. And wax on, wax off, got to maintain that balance. Times that by 4 as well. Okay, so let's try this. That eliminates that. And I'm left with just a z on that side of the equal sign. And now 7 times 4 is 28. Quick little check to make sure that that looks about right. 28 divided by 4 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. Fantastic. Another one correct. So that is my process for solving two-step linear equations. Really simple process, right? Pick a guy, take him out. Use his counterattack. Remember, it is always the opposite operation to what's there. If it's a plus 4, you're going to go with a minus 4. If it's a times by 4, you're going to use a divide by 4. Once you've identified your counterattack, you need to maintain balance. Whatever you do to one side, you need to do the other side as well. And then, once you've done, you're going to reassess. It's rewriting out that equation. And it's always a good process, just when you're starting off, to check, to make sure what you've done is correct. Now might be a good time to have a go at equations yourself, or you could have a go at this one I'm going to provide you with now. Okay, let's have a look. We're going to go with 4x plus 3 equals 19. So if you want to solve this one yourself, pause the video now, give it a shot. Otherwise, let's go. Okay, so my first step is I'm going to take this guy here out. He's a plus 3, so I'm going to minus 3. Maintaining balance, I'm going to minus 3 from there as well. Okay, let's reassess our situation. 4x, that's gone, so that equals 16. Now I need to get rid of this times by 4, so I'm going to divide by 4. I'm going to divide by 4 there, which means we're going to be left with x equals 4. Fantastic. And remember, it's always worthwhile, just when you get your head around this, to check it, to go through and make sure it actually makes sense. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 plus 3 equals 19. Fantastic. Don't be afraid when you're starting off this to check your work, but also don't be afraid to have notings or writings down like this, right? All mathematicians do this. We call it back of the envelope working outs or whatever. So don't be afraid to do this. Working out isn't a sign of a bad mathematician. It's just a sign of someone who's making sure they get the correct answer. Where students make mistakes, most of the time they have skipped a step trying to, be a little bit fancy and have made a mistake as a result of it. So take your time, show you're working out, make sure that you are doing this process correct before you start trying to remove steps or anything like that. Okay, so hopefully you were successful with that. That was AO2, solving two-step linear equations. If you got that, that's fantastic. If you struggle with that a little bit, feel free to talk to someone else in the class or feel free to come and have a chat to me. All right, well done.